Hemingway is one of the most influential writers in the world, with classics like For Whom the Bell Tolls and The Old Man and the Sea. He even won a Nobel Prize for his writing. But how did he become one of the greatest writers in the world? The answer lies in a unique writing exercise Hemingway developed. He shared this amazing technique, which can be broken down into 3 steps, with a student. And it starts with the first step: write a true sentence. All good books are alike, in that they are truer than if they had really happened. And after you have finished reading one, you will feel that all that happened to you. But how do you write like Hemingway said, the truest sentence you can? Hemingway was a close observer of life. For him, writing was a way of capturing the world and reflecting it in the most precise and honest way. He said to his student, Arnold Samuelson, when asked how to train his writing, "Observe what is happening today. When you experience a moment intensely, find what gave you the emotion, what the action was that gave you the excitement. Then write it down, making it clear so the reader will see it too, and have the same feeling that you had. Think of the noises, what was said, the emotions, and retell them. Capture the essence of the moment." This ability to bring emotions and impressions to life through details is what made Hemingway's style so effective. He believed in one of the most important concepts of writing: show, don't tell. You can see how Hemingway implements this method in his own writing. In The Old Man and the Sea, Santiago isn't just a fisherman, he is a man grappling with aging, pride, and resilience. Hemingway doesn't write this, but instead shows us these relatable and real things through small details: his scarred hands, his determination to fight the marlin despite his physical limitations, and his relationship with the boy Manolin. These details let us feel Santiago's state and emotions and his deeply human character. He lets the characters' behavior, actions, and words reveal their thoughts and feelings. Here also comes to play Hemingway's iceberg theory, also called theory of omission. If a writer of prose knows enough about what he is writing about, he may omit things that he knows, and the reader, if the writer is writing truly enough, will have a feeling of those things as strongly as though the writer had stated them. The iceberg theory suggests that a writer should only reveal what is essential on the surface and not deeper meanings and emotions. Hemingway just provides enough information for the reader to allow him to draw his own conclusions. In Hills Like White Elephant, for example, on the surface it's just a talk between a man and a woman at a train station. Hemingway doesn't say exactly what they're talking about, and also doesn't come out and state characters' motivations. Instead, it is left to the reader to draw their own conclusions from the conversation and figure out that they are talking about abortion. Hemingway never mentions the word directly, yet the reader understands. The second step to train your writing is to develop empathy and authenticity. But how do you do that? You need to get in somebody else's head for a change. In real life, we have an opinion about who is right or wrong, but as a writer, you should show both sides of the story. You shouldn't judge, but rather focus on understanding their motivations and actions. This approach allowed Hemingway to create real characters and real conflicts. For Hemingway, writing wasn't just about telling a story. It was about getting to the emotional core of his characters and presenting them in a way that felt real and relatable to the readers. But how did he know how to write such authentic characters? Hemingway's ability to create authentic characters stems from his deep understanding of human nature that he got through the following steps. First, observing and understanding people. Listen now. When people talk, listen completely. Don't be thinking about what you're going to say. Most people never listen, nor do they observe. Hemingway was a keen observer of people. This wasn't just surface-level observations. You should be able to go into a room and when you come out, know everything that you saw there. And not only that, if that room gave you any feeling, you should know exactly what it was that gave you that feeling. One of the best ways to practice this, according to Hemingway, is this. When you're in a town, stand outside the theater and see how the people differ in the way they get out of taxis or motor cars. There are 1,000 ways to practice, and always think of other people. So if you're going outside, commuting to work, or meeting with family over the holidays, try observing the room instead of waiting for your turn to speak. To write authentic characters, you should also draw from your personal experience. Hemingway often infused his characters with elements of himself and the people he had encountered. His time as a journalist, soldier, and traveler informed his writing and made it credible. By writing about what he knew and who he knew, he could create characters that felt like real people. Try to think how you could implement your own life experiences into your characters and story. Hemingway's experience as an ambulance driver in the First World War, for example, heavily influenced A Farewell to Arms. The protagonist, Frederick, reflects Hemingway's first-hand understanding of war, love, and loss. And that's what makes the story feel so so genuine. The last step you need to know to create authentic characters is to create conflict from real emotions. A lot of conflict feels forced or sometimes unrealistic, especially if you read a bad novel or watch a bad movie. But Hemingway believed that true conflict in a story comes from genuine emotions. His characters often face internal struggles and not only external ones. Surely, something can happen to your character in your story, but how does these things affect him in the inside? For Whom the Bells Tolls, Robert's internal conflict about duty and love is just as powerful as the physical dangers he faces during the Spanish Civil War. This makes the character and the story feel not only one-dimensional, but complex. So, observe real people, pay attention to how they talk, move and act, understand their motives, dive deep into why your characters do what they do, give them unique motivations and vulnerabilities, and channel real emotions. Draw from your own experience or imagine yourself in your character's shoes to write with empathy. By focusing on the human experience and writing with understanding and honesty, Hemingway created timeless works that continue to resonate with audiences today. Which leads us to the last and most important step when it comes to writing. Write smart, keep the momentum alive. One of Hemingway's most practical pieces of advice was to stop writing while you still have energy and ideas for what comes next. Write until you come to a place where you still have your juice and know what will happen next. Stop and leave it for the next day. He believed by doing this, you could maintain the excitement and flow of your story when you return to it the next day. Think of it like leaving breadcrumbs for yourself. When you stop mid-thought, you create a clear path to pick up where you left off. This prevents the dreaded blank page feeling when you sit down to write again. It's easier to dive back in when you already know where the story is headed. Let's say you're writing a scene where two characters are having an intense argument. Instead of finishing the argument completely, you could just stop as one character is about to say something dramatic or revealing. This unfinished moment keeps the story alive in your mind and gives you a head start when you return to it. Like Hemingway said, the best way is always to stop when you're going good, when you know what will happen next. If you do that every day when you're writing a novel, you will never be stuck. This advice doesn't just help with productivity, it also keeps your storytelling fresh and engaging. By leaving yourself something to look forward to, you'll approach your writing session with excitement rather than dread. There's another unique thing Hemingway did to stay energized and focused when writing, and that is, he never worked at a desk. Instead, he used a stand-up workplace he had made out of a bookcase near his bed. He also kept a score of how many words he wrote each day. While he didn't aim to have a daily goal like Stephen King, for example, keeping a score helped him keep himself accountable. When I'm working on a book or a story, I write every morning, as soon after first light as possible. There's no one to disturb you, and it's cool or cold, and you come to your work and warm as you write. But always keep in mind, like Hemingway said, we are all apprentices in a craft where no one ever becomes a master. So try these techniques for yourself, observe the world around you, write with honesty. You might just discover your own unique voice, just as Hemingway did. And don't be too hard on yourself. I hope this video helped you, and please subscribe for more.